I'm going to start out by extending, the mic out to the audience. So really quickly, can we get a quick introduction from all of you guys? Yeah?
Okay. I'll start. My name is Davey Jay. I am an entertainment, intellectual property, and business attorney. I am a member of the Recording Academy, which is the organization that gives out the Grammys. And I'm also an adjunct professor at Barry University School of Law, and I teach entertainment law there.
Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Anastasia. I'm an audio engineer, mix, master, record. I own a recording studio in Longwood called The Midnight Collective with my partner Coastal. Yeah, come tap in with us. If y'all want to, network, make sure you give your Instagram to Coastal over there. But yeah.
Yeah, because we are live streaming this.
You got it. What's good, everybody? My name is Jay Yoko. I'm the founder of Jay Yoko Entertainment. I am an artist development specialist, artist manager, project manager, also a fellow member of the Recording Academy, a member of Songwriters Organization of North America, which is the closest thing that we can get to having a union in the music business. And pretty much my forte is teaching people how to get paid in this business and understanding that this is a business.
All right, so with that being said, like I said, I'm going to open it up firstly to the actual audience for if you guys have any questions, and then I've also got some questions that were submitted online. So raise your hand. I don't know. You got a burning desire that you want to know? Anybody? Anybody? Because I can just go, all right, we got one in the bit. Yeah, clap it up for the courage, because y'all be acting like you don't want to know shit, but there's shit that you need to know. So, like, stop being scared of looking stupid. Seriously, stop being scared of looking stupid, because there's always something to be learned from a moment of ignorance, like, period. All right.
How you doing? My name is Kenny. My first question was, I got a couple. First question would be, what would you think is the most important thing for somebody in the music industry making music that they should seek legal help for?
Ooh, good question. So I think first and foremost is a lot of people don't understand what rights they have. And that forms the whole basis of how you make money, is exploiting your rights, licensing them out, and things like that. So people don't understand what their rights are. And I think that's doubly true anytime you work with somebody else, because people seem to think that if you I paid somebody to come in and be a feature on this. If they didn't sign a contract, it's not your song, it's y'all's song. And so when you collaborate, you share rights equally, regardless of how much each person contributed. And that comes as a shock. And it's not just you share the money equally, you share the control over the song. So if this other person wants to release it and do whatever they want with it, they can do that without even talking to you about it. So that's one of the big things I think that people don't really understand. And then other than that, understanding that every time you buy a beat, anytime you license content from somebody else, unless you've got like a solid contract, you're picking up all of their liability. So if they've got uncleared samples in it, you're just as on the hook for that uncleared sample as they are, even if you don't know it's there.
That's real. Talk to him. All right, do we have any other questions from the audience? I really want to encourage y'all to ask the dumbass questions, because we need them. Let's do it. Exactly, but that's the point. That's the point, though, is that, like, I want, y'all get it. You get it.
All right, so I'm not a baby.
Yelling. I'm yelling.
It's okay. I'm grown. I just look like a baby because I'm a part of the eligibility club. It's okay. And the knees. So my question is like.
What's your name?
Okay. So my name is Jado K. I'm an independent artist, but recently I've been getting a lot of I don't know. I'm drunk. A lot of. Okay, so
Way to go,
I've been getting attention from like record labels and stuff. So I really just wanted to ask, what would you like? What's a smarter route, being signed or being independent? Because I've gotten pretty far independent. Like I've worked with a lot of people already, but it's like there's pros and cons to both. So like, what?
Yeah, that really depends on like your personal preference. There's people who have done it independent. There are people who have done it, being signed. I think it's just being knowledgeable on like the music business. So you really have to, dedicate time to yourself to become your own manager, know what rights you have, what royalties you're missing out on. If you're on SoundScan, if your mechanical rights, Sound Exchange, things like that. So if you want to go the independent route, that might work out for you, making your own team, but it really depends.
Okay, let me ask you, right? When it comes to being signed, what does that mean?
To you.
To me, being independent, like I got bread, but it'd be hurting my pockets regardless.
I'm gonna break it down even more, right? You signed to a label. Let's say you signed, right? What did you do? Okay, my point exactly. Before you sign to any label, you need to understand what signing to a label even means. What are your responsibilities when you sign to this label? Because yes, they're gonna give you an advance, regardless of how much it is. Number one, it's a loan. Number two, what do you have to do in exchange to fulfill this obligation? So, before you sign to any situation, you have to educate yourself. This is a business. This is a billion-dollar business, almost $1 trillion. So before you sign up for anything, you gotta learn for yourself and understand how this music business is set up, how you make money. When you sign to a label, what's happening, what's going on? You're signing your copyrights over. You're signing your ownership over. You're signing your likeness and your image to somebody else to exploit. If you don't understand what that means, don't do it. So first things first, learn what all this stuff even means first. And until you understand exactly what that means, keep doing it for yourself. Because now you're creating leverage for yourself. I started out not knowing what none of this means, but now I got my royalty set up. I'm making money for myself. I know what this stuff even means to sign to these people. So you have an advantage over everybody because they can't pull the wool over your eyes. You've done your research already. So don't sign nothing until you know what you're signing.
Yeah, and just to say, is it better being signed or being independent? That's not a question anybody can answer, because being signed means a million different things. Right. It's who you signed with, it's what your contract says. All of those things have massive amounts of potential variations in each one of them. So you know what, being signed might be great for you, might be terrible for somebody else. It entirely depends on who you are, where you're at, what your goals are, what that document says, and who those people are on the other side of the document. Because you can have the best contract in the world, but if the people on the other side are shit, you just sign with shit.
Yeah, real quick before we move on to that, I just want to hone in on, once again, just the importance of education and the ability to do checks and balances on your team and the people that you're working with, and actually understanding the work that they're doing for you, so that, once again, you don't have, the rug pulled over your eyes and you just don't, and you're, giving over your career to somebody else. When you are working with anybody and connecting your name with anybody, it's a piece of your brand that you're giving to somebody else. So you have to really take time on that decision, and make sure that not only the people that you're working for align with you, and that you, like, as humans are comfortable working with these people, but also that they have your best interest in mind. Like, one of the things that I had heard recently was about, like, single deals, and that artists should stay away from them because it shows that the label doesn't really believe in you. They're just taking a chance on you. And when you're working with people, you really want them to believe in you and to see, like, the vision that you have, and to have not only the resources, but, like, the heart to bring that to real fruition. So yeah, like they said, it's not one or the other. It's really, really personal, and you're gonna figure that out as you continue to learn and as you continue to meet people. But keep doing the independent shit while you have it, and learn as much as you possibly can. And we're gonna do our best, personally, myself and Darren, to continue creating these spaces so that you guys can learn as much as you can. So yeah, all right. All right, yeah, thank you. Clap it up. We got any other questions? All right, LV? We've got another boss in the building.
All right, so I just kind of want to focus in on like independent artists, like in what number order of importance, right? Is their artist management, artist development, getting signed? At what point do they need a entertainment lawyer? Like, you know, a lot of these artists are just making music to make music, and they all want, oh, I need a manager, or oh, I need a booking, a gig. They don't even know that you can get paid for these things. So I know you guys are all experienced, and you probably know, hey, you should start here and then work your way up to this. So if you guys could just share and enlighten, you know, the artists here in the building and what order they should actually be doing things, I think it'll help them progress, you know, and go in the right direction.
Well, I mean, it's also going to be an it depends answer because it's going to depend on what's right for you. Some of my clients are signed to labels. Some of my clients are not signed to a label, but they're kicking ass and making tons of money and doing huge international tours. They have a publishing company, but they wanted no part of a label. They had many offers, and they're like, no, we're independent. We don't want that. So for them, that works. For somebody else, it might not. It just depends on, you know, who you are, where you're going. But that said, a few words about managers. First and foremost, I mean, if it's your cousin, it's great as long as your cousin knows the business. Like, don't be signing I've had clients do this too. They're like, no, like, he's been my friend since, like, we came up together. We're like 4 years old. We've known, he's got my back. I'm like, but he don't know shit about royalties. How's he going to manage your business when he doesn't know the business? And that's the thing. Like, do you want a business or you want a hobby? You know, so you got to make business decisions. So, you know, if a manager's right for you, you know, it's going to depend on what they know, who they know, what their experience is, and all of those sorts of things. And, you know, here's the thing. A manager takes a percentage of your money. They take 20%, usually. Not always, but that's pretty much standard. And so you got to understand, as an artist, people are siphoning off your revenue stream at every stop along the way. So you better understand that you're bringing somebody on that's taking a percentage of your gross, not your net, your gross, off the top of what you were going to receive. So that's a significant chunk. You better make sure that they have the ability to help you elevate your career and that you are working just as hard, if not harder, than your manager. Because you can't sit back and be like, oh, my manager's going to handle all this shit. Like, you need to be on top of your own career too. So you know, when is a good time for that and what's the order of importance? Totally depends, but I will say that, like, your manager should be giving you advice about whether or not, you know, you should be with this label and whether that's a good fit for you and what their plans are for you. I've had people say, like, oh, this label's going to manage me too. I'm like, the hell they are. No, they're not. They're going to manage their bank account. That's not how that's going to work because those two interests aren't always aligned. So you need people with different perspectives to guide you as far as that goes. As far as when you need a lawyer, generally, when this stops being a hobby, it's a good idea to talk to somebody about, like, what am I doing right now? What should I be doing? How do I proceed in a smart manner for what I'm doing? Other than that, anytime you're supposed to sign something, you have a lawyer look it over before you do, because I have seen some garbage out there and some gnarly scams. Man, people are out to scam you guys pretty hard. And it's not good. So yeah. So that's my 2 cents.
So I will add on, in order to have a manager, you need to have something to manage, right? Not trying to be a dickhead, but for real. In order to get booked for shows, you need to have a demand, right? So the focus needs to be on building the brand overall. The brand, the artistry, that needs to be the focal. Number 2, most people don't understand the job of a manager, right? A manager's job is not to put money behind you. It's not to help create social media content. It's not to bring jobs in. Technically, that's a booking agent, right? So 20% of nothing is nothing. Nobody's going to sign up for that. So you have to get some motion for yourself and start that movement for yourself so the right people come around and want to help you excel, right? Because you really can't expect somebody to come onto a project that's not making any revenue and giving out all of their resources and all of their help and all of their blueprint with nothing that's guaranteed in return. Now, I mean, it happens because sometimes we just find artists that we feel like, yo, if we get behind them, they're gonna take off, they got the help we need, but that's not practical, right? So I feel like the main focus needs to always be on the development of the artist and the brand overall, because that's how you're able to create revenue in different ways by exploring, okay? We already know streaming ain't shit. what other ways can we make money? How can we exploit this brand besides being just an artist? Because being an artist and doing the music is only one pillar of your brand, if that is, right? So that's the whole thing, is like, you gotta make a brand. You gotta start doing your own shows and having the data from your own shows to be able to show different promoters, like, this is what I can bring in, bro. I did a show, but I made sure I sold the tickets on Eventbrite so I can show them I put 50 bodies in the building, or I got booked for this showcase, but I made them create my own link so it can show how many people bought tickets. Out of 150 people, 50% of them came from me. That way you can create a demand for yourself so they can want to book you and can want to bring you in. Like, every part of this industry is a business. So you got to understand and make yourself attractive for somebody to want to be a part of your business. Until you get to that point, learn to develop yourself. And then those people who you want to help you and accentuate your team, if you will, want to come to you. You don't really need to look for a manager. If you're looking out for a manager, they already know you're in need. They can play you for real, for real. I know this kid just want to get on the radio, so I'm going to tell the kid, pay me $1,000, and I'm going to call my cousin who already had the radio. And I seem like a bomb-ass manager who just got $1,000 in their pocket, but for what, bro? Because you ain't know how to call the PD. So it's like, it's just not worth getting all that scam stuff done. Build it for yourself first, and the right people come around when it's time.
I just want to real quick, the data point of what Jay was just talking about is so important. Actually understanding how to like quantify the value that you have, because once again, this is a business. What do the people who have resources care about? Numbers. It can be discouraging when we're talking about social media and all of that kind of stuff, but if you actually want to communicate your value, you have to do it in a way that other people can understand. It can't be the vibes. It's not the vibes, okay? It's real actionable information that can be given to whatever company that you're talking about, that they can say, okay, I align with this. I see that this has certain growth and I can put in these resources so that we can continue to expand it. But that data aspect of things, I know a lot of you guys are doing showcases and doing shows. Take account of how many people that you bring out and log that information. Take those, further than that, take that information down, get those emails, get those phone numbers so that you can market to those people who are truly in your audience. But that data aspect is something that I feel like is very, very lost, especially on like the independent and underground part, because we are very caught up in the vibes. And it is so important to get to that next step. Like, those numbers really do matter. And even if they're not super high, if you can show the growth that you've been able to do in, 6 months to a year, it's really important, not only for other people that you're presenting that information to, but also for yourself, because you need to know, okay, this is working, this is not. What's the difference, and how am I going to move forward? And the best way that you're going to get that information is through data and is through the numbers.
And another thing about data too, EPKs can be very beneficial. Once you feel like you have that data to support your movement, go ahead, that's what you send to labels, that's what you send to managers, you know what I'm saying? It's very important to have that. That's an electronic press kit, basically like artist insights. And make sure you guys are like talking to, whenever you do like performances for social media, pay X amount for like a 2-minute video, Make sure you guys are asking for their insights. Is it, what's my ROI on this? You know what I'm saying? Am I gonna make my money back? And do they even have an audience? Is it my type of audience? You need to start asking yourself those questions too, and having a good marketer behind you that can push your movement and get your movement in front of more people. It's very important. Yeah.
Period. No, we can clap it up. Yeah. All right, I see a couple. I'm gonna start with my girl Nia, and then we're gonna come back to you, Ambi, okay?
Hello, everybody. I'm Nia Ashe, creative entrepreneur, founder of Purpose Entertainment. And my question is in regards to intellectual property. I want to know more about what that is, how you acquire it, and how you leverage it.
I love that question.
Yes.
Okay, so intellectual property is a really broad term for a couple of different areas of law. First one is copyrights. That protects works of art very broadly. Second one is trademarks. That protects your brand identity. So name, logo, slogan, pretty much anything that identifies you in the marketplace, that can potentially be protected by trademark. Occasionally things like a sound, like the McDonald's jingle, da 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 da. Yeah. That's protected by trademark. Color sometimes can be. So there's anything that just identifies a brand or a source of goods or services. Other than that, we have patent. Patent protects inventions, methods, and processes. And then we have trade secrets, which is pretty much anything that you keep as a proprietary secret that allows you to excel in business. Could be their special sauce, that's right. It could be Coca-Cola, it could be KFC, something like that. But it could be other things too. So those are generally all forms of intellectual property. The copyright and the trademark aspect come in a lot in music and entertainment. Also, not necessarily identified as an area of IP, but ancillary to it is your publicity rights, name, voice, likeness, image. Those are based on state law, so it depends on where you live. That's what gives you your publicity rights. All those other stuff, copyrights, trademarks, patents, that's all federal law. And so is trade secret. So anyways, that's the really broad overview, and I'm pretty sure in the folders there's like a one sheet on copyrights, there's another one on trademarks that give you like some of like the main points you need to know about it. But as far as how you get it, you make something. Copyright, as soon as you create something, you have a copyright. A lot of people think you have to register to get a copyright. That's not true. Registration helps you protect it. It gives you enforcement power. It's the big stick you're going to hit somebody with if they steal your shit. But it's not what gives you ownership. Ownership happens the moment you create something. Similar idea with trademark. Trademark rights start building up in you the minute you start using that thing to identify your brand to the world. As soon as you offer goods and services in connection with your name, logo, or slogan, you're starting to acquire some what we call common law trademark rights. Again, you can and should register trademarks because, again, that's what gives you enforcement power, and also it expands your protection and it expands your rights. So you get more rights with registration, which is different from copyright. So that's kind of, the thing. Same thing with patent. You invent something. Same thing with trade secret. You figure something out. Oh, that tastes good like that. Like, don't tell anybody. So that's kind of the broad overview gist of it.
I really want to, so just to clarify, when I register my trademark or I register my copyright, that's what really gives me the ability to sue somebody.
Absolutely.
Right.
You cannot, it is impossible to sue somebody for copyright infringement without a registration. And if you register it within 3 months of the date that you released the work, you're entitled to be awarded the highest amount of damages, which is up to $150,000 per act of infringement. You might have made $1 off that song. Somebody steals it, you could potentially sue them for up to $150,000 plus your legal fees. So that's why we got a lot of copyright trolls out there, because it is very lucrative to sue people for fun and profit when it comes to intellectual property. Yeah.
Y'all heard that, right?
Yeah, sorry, I talk real fast sometimes. You take the girl out of New York. Anyways, if you file your copyright registration with the Copyright Office within 3 months of the date that you published it, meaning released it to the public for sale, lending, lease, or gift, not just put something on your website, that's not making it available for people to get, right? They can just see it. So if you register within those 3 months, then you're entitled to the full protection of the law. And you can actually file a whole album on a single registration. Yeah, Grandma's right. And so, that cuts the cost down because, doing like $65 a song can get a little expensive. You do a whole album on one, and it could be, an EP, it could be an LP, whatever. You can register on that one thing. And that also protects, you can register not only the sound recordings, but also the musical work and any album artwork you got can all be protected on that one registration.
Really quickly, before we move forward, since we're talking about timing and copyright and all these different things, can we talk a little bit about the time that you have to register your music when it comes to the MLC, Sound Exchange, PROs, all of that kind of stuff? Let's talk about it.
Okay, so clearly, I was about to say, do I need this? We got online friends. Wait a minute.
Yeah, we got online friends.
We got online
Say
friends.
hi to them. Hi.
Hi, friends. Okay, so let me let y'all know I'm biased, number one, right? But when it comes to registering your music, do it immediately, right? Like, try to do it before it comes out. Certain codes you need, like your ISRC code and UPC code, you need to have the song distributed, right? Back it up. Do everything in advance. A couple reasons why. When you submit your song to DSPs in advance, You give yourself time to run a pre-save campaign, right? Or a pre-order campaign. What a lot of people don't know is that's how you chart. If you get 500 pre-orders, by the time that your song comes out, you can chart on Billboard. It's not that hard. So that's number one, right? People always miss submitting their song for Spotify editorial placement, which is 100% free. You just need to do it in advance. Even if you don't get the editorial placement, that's how you trigger your algorithmic placements. Meaning, if you've ever seen Release Radar, This Is For You, X, Y, and Z, you have those same capabilities of doing that. You just need to do this stuff in advance, for real, for real. So now when we talk about royalties, do it as early as possible, because you never know what's gonna happen. Your song in 24 hours can have 1 million streams. It could have 7, right? Either way, when that song is consumed, you're making money. What you don't wanna do is have to catch up to all this money that you've made. You don't wanna have to figure out, I don't know how to do it, I don't know where to go. You do all of this in advance. So that way when your song is finally out, you can actually enjoy and relax knowing that I've already got my copyrights, I'm registered for all my royalties, I've done all my submissions ahead of time, I've sent out a press release, I've done pre-save, I've been campaigning for I don't know how long ahead of time. Because you can't just expect to say, I got a song out, it's on my Instagram, and now check it out. Our brains don't work like that. We got TikTok brains, all right? You got 30, 45 seconds to make me remember something. So if you're not running a campaign 3-4 weeks ahead of time, I already don't know that you got a song coming out. Run a campaign, plan everything ahead of time, have all your paperwork lined up before the project comes out so you eliminate any issues. On top of that, especially if you're working with producers and writers, you put a song out, the producer don't know that it's out because y'all never did a producer agreement, split sheets, none of that, and everything's going crazy. Now the producer's calling you like, hey bro, we ain't never clear up on this. Now I want double of what you owe me because none of this stuff was sold up ahead of time.
That's right. And now that producer can ask for whatever their share is based on how many people are involved. So any bargaining power you just had is gone.
So just do everything in advance. That way you can understand and know that the business is taken care of and you can actually enjoy the record being out. Because if not, now you're worried about, damn, 3,000 people heard it and I ain't got no copyrights? How many of them people done took your song? And you don't know it because once you put it on DSPs, you worldwide. So somebody in Thailand can be rocking to you right now. They realize you ain't got no copyrights on it. Now I'm about to put some copyrights on it and now it's mine. It's a dog-eat-dog world. I done seen it happen. I done seen somebody post something on Facebook and somebody else got $1 million deal off of it. That was in 2011. This was way before we had AI or any of this crazy stuff, you feel me? So cover yourself. If y'all take the time to make this music, to put money in to get it mixed and mastered, to do the artwork and all this stuff, take the time to take care of the admin side. That's your money. That's your art. The least you can do is protect it and stand up for your own self. So to sum it up, when do you do the paperwork? Immediately. Do everything in advance. At least 21 days in advance.
Say that one more time.
At least. I like to go way before that. When I start projects and I do project management with people, I need at least 10 weeks in advance before the song is even coming out. Because we're conceptualizing, we're getting content together, we're getting contracts and all this stuff done. It takes time. And we need time for errors. That's what nobody prepares for. You don't have no buffer. The song's supposed to come out on the 1st. You never realize you got a message from DistroKid that said it ain't go through. So now on the 1st, everybody looking crazy and cross-eyed. Everybody DMing you like, yo, what's up with the song? You like, yo, I'm coming, I'm trying, but ain't nothing you can do because you ain't give yourself no time, no buffer for real, for real. This is why you plan. Do everything in advance when it comes to this music industry because you never know what's going to happen.
Real quick before we move forward, is it beginning to resonate like how important all of this stuff is to musicians who like really want to make this your career? Because one thing that I talk about a little bit is like, it's okay if you just want to have fun and do this and you just want to put out music and you just want to be creative, and that's great, that's fine, there's nothing wrong with that. If you really want to make this your career, there are certain steps that you need to go through, there are certain things that you need to have in place, and once again, that educational part of just understanding the industry and what steps you actually have to take, that should be at the top of your list. And going back to kind of like that artist development part of things, to me, that's the most important part of artist development is the education part, whether that's education on your craft, education on your industry, but just learning as much as you can, I feel like, to me, is one of the biggest parts of artist development because that's going to take you and your brand so far. Do we have any other questions? All right, let's go with Caleb. I'm going to come around the room that way.
Check. Okay. So I stepped out for a phone call for a second, so sorry if you covered this already. But the music industry is like a forever changing landscape. Trends, genres, algorithms, AI, even like laws and legislatively. What are some new methods, possibly laws, that have come into place most recently that people need to be up to speed on? I know Jay just recently posted something on her Instagram saying something about some laws that changed. If you haven't followed her, Jay Yoko, ENT.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
First of all, I feel like everybody should like follow music blogs, right? So you can stay up to date with what's going on. But this is also why you need to get in certain, I guess, groups, if you would. The Recording Academy, Sona, and I'm not saying it because I'm in it, but this is how I stay in the loop of everything that's happening, because it's like I get an email like, we're lobbying this week. And it's like, oh shit, I didn't even know, you know what I'm saying? I didn't even know we was going to action. But I mean, of course, AI has been on the top of everything, right? So they're trying to, and working on it. I think they did like sign something legislative wise that way we can start having protection rights for the different artists. Of course, you got, not too long ago, the Copyright Royalty Board finally gave out how much we're supposed to be getting paid for mechanical. I think it's like phono 2 or 3 royalties, which all that geeky shit means. When we get paid our royalties, your rates are determined, I want to say anyway, 3 to 5 years, like in advance type thing. So rates were determined at one time, they never paid them. They kind of been sitting and holding for a while. They finally decided what the rate was. They're going to back pay a lot of stuff. So this is like, you just got to pay attention to who's paying what companies are cutting checks for real, and what's going on kind of in the world. There are always mergers. There are always companies coming together. There's companies selling each other. There are companies competing with each other. And it's like, you got to pay attention to all that, because as much as it like doesn't matter to us, like eventually, yes, it will type thing. You got publishing companies that's merging. You got, you know, different people who are acquiring catalogs, and this is why you're hearing certain songs now that are going crazy. Y'all seen White Chicks? Y'all remember the song they was modeling to? I've been hearing that song in every commercial lately, right? So not only did Nicki Minaj sample it, but it's like furniture commercials and this person commercials. So I'm like, damn, somebody must have just bought their catalog for real. But this is like, these are things you just pay attention to. I know y'all heard about the Spotify paying out only if you get 1,000 streams type thing. I know a lot of people are mad, but it's like, it's really no reason. It's like, they was only giving you like 10 cents for that anyway.
You
it's
mad
like,
at 35 cents.
Just run it up for real. But I mean, the biggest thing, Music Business Worldwide is a blog that I follow, and I get emails from like every day, Billboard type thing. And it's just like every time something happens, you get alerted, and you kind of got to have to, because if you're not like in those kind of just groups and realms, this is not stuff that they're gonna make super public for real, because like the more you don't pay attention, the more that somebody else gonna make money off of you. So you gotta do the due diligence and be like, yo, let me check a new week, a new month, what happened, and keep yourself up to date, because at the end of the day, it's about your money.
While we're on that topic, I'm sorry.
Go for it.
Cut you off. I do a music industry news podcast every week where I talk about what's going on in the industry, whether it is my personal trainer. She began me right in the gym. I'm sorry, she just looked good. I saw her. I had to say something. Anyways, yeah, I do a music industry news podcast every single week where I'm talking about deals, acquisitions, mergers, legal news, whether that be like artist accomplishments and award shows and things like that, like literally MBW, celebrity access. All of it. I get Google alerts every day, and I go through them, and I put them in a document, and I talk about them every single week, and then I make that document public for all my viewers. So if you're someone who is like, yeah, I need to start learning more about this stuff, that's a really great place to start, because every week I'm giving you information about what is current events in the industry. And we're coming to DSPs and all that good stuff for season 2. I've been doing it for like a year and a half. This is technically the 50th episode of the podcast, so we can... That's why we're live streaming. But yeah, like Jay said, it's really, really important to stay up to date. That's why I started the podcast, because I was like, I need to do this research because I need to know what's going on. So I might as well make it accessible and open for other people to get that information. I also do music reviews on that podcast, which I then funnel over to my radio show, and all that is for free. Okay, so for free. I don't know if you heard that, but like I'll play your music on the radio for free. Anyways, yeah, I just wanted to slip that in since we're talking about like industry news and current events and stuff like that, because it's my event, so.
Yeah, one of the other things that nobody ever pays attention to is what's going on in the courts. Because that very much changes everything that applies to all of us, in case we haven't been paying attention lately. But anyways, yeah, so I mean, court cases that come out of the Supreme Court, sometimes they'll hit main news, but like, that's not the only stuff that matters. There's lots of like courts of appeals decisions that will change the actual scope of what we can do, what we can't do. And so, again, I know that most people aren't looking at that. Like, I get it. I understand. It's not, what you do for fun on a Friday night. It's what I do for fun on a Friday night. It's not what normal people do for fun on a Friday night. But certainly looking at the blogs and things like that, like those are going to give you a heads up as to the important decisions that are coming out and how it changes the landscape of our whole business.
All right, we got any other questions? Hey. All right, I'm gonna come back here because you've had your hand up for a second.
I'm on live, so this isn't my question. This is one of my homeboys' questions, and he just started music. He said, for an up-and-coming artist, what is the best way to transfer views to actual music revenue? Like, yeah, I guess he means Instagram views, or I don't know. Listen, I don't know. He said, I don't know. Yeah, all that.
So let's just assume that he's saying streams, right? Okay, first of all, how do you translate the revenue? You need to make sure that it's registered so you can actually get paid from it. First and foremost, all right? Second, you kind of got to develop your brand, and you got to figure out who you're selling to and what they're going to buy, if that makes sense. Again, streams is not popping right now. So you got to figure out how to start direct selling things. In order to sell something, you kind of got to have a product, right? So whether you're selling a single directly, whether you're doing a bundle where I'm going to send you a t-shirt, I'm going to give you 6 tracks, whatever it is, like you got to create products. But you got to have fans first and foremost, right? So before you try to like translate it over, you need to make sure that you actually have people who are listening and paying attention and understanding that fans and followers are 2 totally different things, right? Followers are people who are just looking. Fans are people who are subscribed. They're giving you their data. They're giving you the email address, the phone number, to text them to keep them in a loop with stuff. If you say that you're buying or you're selling a t-shirt for $15, they're going to buy it type thing. Those are people who you need to pay attention to, right? You need to know their name. You need to know their hobbies. You need to know everything about them, because these are the people who at the end of the day, like, those are your investors, for real, for real. So the focus needs to be on finding your tribe, finding your community, finding the people who are going to actually be your investors and the people behind you. And as you start paying attention to them and nurturing them and honing in on them, it's going to translate, because it's going to be more than, okay, I'm just streaming your music, I'm just following you online. It's, yo, I heard you got a show, I just paid my $10 and hopefully you got a piece of that type thing. But you got to have a viable brand and then a product to be able to sell, because if you don't have either one, they just going to be looking at you.
I think another thing as well is having a lot of call to actions. So if you have that music video that you released on YouTube, having a link to your website or your Instagram, something that they can go there, and now you have data. If you're controlling your website, now you know what page they're on, their data. Data is the most important aspect in this business, and just making sure that they're able to support you. Like, if you don't have any of your royalties set up, if you don't have a link tree, just a directive where people can go to get to know your brand and interact with you, engagement is very important. And just having that team around you to help elevate what you're trying to sell to them. You know what I'm saying? So just selling your brand and having the data behind who your audience is going to be the way that you transform your views into dollars.
Appreciate it. Did you say something first? You sound like you had a segue.
Ow, I'm back. Okay, go ahead, T. Go ahead.
You sound like you had a segue. So for one, I'm Theron. I'm an independent artist, engineer. I do a little everything. I just love music as a whole. My question is, as an independent artist, from what you guys have seen, what would you say is the best aggregator or distributor for independent artists to use?
I'll just personally say, It's gonna depend. It's a lot of these questions when it comes to like, should I be independent? What company should? It just depends. It really just depends personally on what your goals are. And like, I know when we were over at Indie Jams and I was doing my little like royalty registration class, I talked about Ari Herstand and the article that he has that is a really, really good comparison of aggregators and what they'll provide for you. And you want to look at a couple of different things. Of course, you want to look at like cost. What is it going to cost you to actually upload your works? What is the percentage that they're going to take if that is a part of it? Do they have like a really good upstreaming program in terms of like how are they looking at the artists that are using their aggregator and the growth that they're having, and are they putting resources behind those artists, and how can you get involved with those? What kind of resources do they offer? You just want to do a really good job of doing, you have to do the research because it's just really going to depend on who you are, what you want to do with your business, and how it's going to align with each of those aggregators. So that's my answer.
Nah, I mean, the only thing I think I would say is like find an aggregator that actually has like human customer service. Because I got a few homies that still use DistroKid and it's hell on high water, right? Because something happens and they're like, we'll get back to you in 3 to 5 days. And 4 weeks later, it's like, we'll get back to you in 3 to 5 days. Like, I can't deal with that, right? When I have issues, I send a text message and then I get an email in about an hour that's like, it's fixed. That's just what I need personally, right? So again, it's all about what you need and what fits for you, but please look for somebody that has real customer service because you deserve to be heard. Like if you're paying your monthly premium or you're doing whatever you gotta do to be on this platform, make sure you actually have the support to help you use this platform because it's giving y'all hell and it's giving y'all headaches, and DistroKid is kicking y'all ass right now.
Kicking y'all ass!
I just want y'all to get better. Just find customer service, that way they can help you through it and at least start there.
And I gotta say, and you're not gonna do it, but I gotta say it anyways, before you click the box that says I accept, you gotta read the damn terms. Because it tells you what they can and what they can't do with your music. It tells you when they can withhold your money, because you better believe they can. You know, there are gonna be time, I've had clients all the time, like, what's going on? Like, all of a sudden they're saying that, like, you know, there's like fake streams and stuff on my account. Like, well, let me look. Yeah, some of those playlists are sketchy as hell. Like, those are not real people. Yes, yeah, exactly. I'm like, that is not, right. And I'm like, yeah, they're gonna hold your money or not, and they're put this like 90% of my royalties. I'm like, yeah, that ain't your money because it wasn't real people listening to it. So like, understand that all of that stuff goes on, but you've got to read the terms to understand or at least get a feeling for like, okay, these are the rights they have. This is what happens if something happens with my music. Like most of the agreements say in them, and a lot of people don't realize this, a lot of them have an indemnification clause that says like, hey, not only can we take your stuff down if it infringes somebody else's copyright, but if we get sued because of your music, you're gonna pay for our lawyers, right? Like that ain't cheap. So just understand what you're, you know, take the time to look at what you're agreeing to before you agree to it, because you'll be sad if you don't.
All right, we're gonna go over to my boy Landy over here, AKA Live and Die. Yeah.
What's up, y'all? I'm Landy, AKA Live and Die. I got 3 questions. The first question is, first 2 are legal. The last one is just, I guess, a breakdown of the proper release of a song. First question is, I released a logo. I used to sell a bunch of T-shirts with that logo, and then like a few months later, about a year later, a really famous boxing company stole my logo and put it as their like main logo, and they're making hella bread off of it. So my thing is I never patented it, so they might have got me. So I was wondering if there's anything I could do about that. Second thing is...
Hold on, answer to the first one. Maybe.
Right. It's called... So my logo is...
Without knowing all of the ins and outs of it, I wouldn't be able to say, because there's so much more, like, that is such a, like, you know, like, if I drive my car today, is it going to get dirty? Maybe.
Right.
Maybe it won't. Maybe it'll rain. It'll actually clean it off, because that's how I wash my car. Nature does it. So like there's so many other questions that need to be asked to answer that one.
Okay.
So maybe.
Yeah. So we might have to talk after this. Second question is, what if you signed a contract with a company that said, like, they said they were gonna do a bunch of things, nothing followed through, so now you were stuck and weren't able to drop music for a little bit. And is there any way to get out of that contract, or is
Depends on what's in the contract.
Another maybe. All right.
Totally depends on what the contract is.
I need a lawyer. That's what I need a lawyer.
These are the easiest questions. It depends.
I got you. I need some legal help.
That's right.
The third question is, can you guys break down a song release from studio to the actual release date as far as purchasing ISRC codes, UPC codes, and like pretty much everything from beginning to end as far as a release goes?
There's not just one way to do it.
Yeah.
You know, there's a bunch of different steps along the way as far as like where you're getting your ISRC codes from. Do you buy a bunch yourself? Is like your mastering engineer got some? Is somebody else you're working with got, like who's got the damn who's got them? Who's holding, right? Like, so there things like that, like there could, so there's not just one way, one path as far as that goes.
Because I know a lot of artists think it's like studio cover art, at least licensed to beat, DistroKid release, but there should be like a.
Why are you going in the studio and recording vocals over this track if you haven't licensed the beat yet?
Right.
Why are you pissing your money away on the studio if you haven't gotten permission to use the beat? Like that's definitely, that's always going to be a get the permission before you spend money on it.
Right.
Or even your time, because I can tell you right now, I have lots of clients who've got great songs that are never going to see the light of day.
Right.
Been there, done that. Okay, so look at it like this, all right? Number one, do a producer agreement, because again, don't go in the studio without owning the beat that you have. Make the song, do a split sheet, because you need to figure out what you're even doing. Have some type of agreement and some plan of how you're splitting masters and compositions so you can have answers to these questions of how to even register the works. But then, like, for real, when it comes to a rollout, like, there is no definitive answer, because everybody should have actual goals that they're trying to accomplish for their rollout. So it's like, what are you trying to accomplish? Some people's success to them is just putting it on DSP. Some people say they want to get sync placement. Some people want to do a brand partnership and a launch. So it's like, you got to have a plan and goals of what you want to do to be able to understand, like, what route that you take. There is no, like, success is not linear type thing, and what you feel like is success is not the same as somebody else. So you really got to determine, like, what it is that you're trying to do with this record for real. Are you just trying to put it out and put it on Instagram? Or, like, are you planning things in advance? Are you doing press? Are you doing media? Are you, like, rolling it out as far as content? Are you bulk creating content? Like, all of these things got to be answered first before there's, like, this is what you do type thing, because I don't know what you're trying to do for real. But as far as just putting a project out, I mean, everything as far as the IP needs to be sold up first and foremost before you even start thinking about putting it onto these platforms. Is like, cool, you just recorded a song. Who owns the beat? What's the splits on it? Who owns the masters? That means who's registering the copyright? Whose song is it? What is the title of it? What label's putting it out? All of that needs to be determined, and everybody needs to have it agreed upon before you even start putting it into these DSPs to register the ISRC codes and the UPC codes. So that's the part where everybody dropped the ball. So it's like, take care of all of that first, and then create a plan for yourself as far as, what am I doing with this record? Because that's where a lot of people fall. I'm just putting music out. For what? You put music out last time and only 13 people heard it. What's the intention behind it? Maybe you're marketing to the wrong people. I ain't trying to be an asshole, but y'all know I don't hold back for real, right? So what? You know, I was just saying. But like, once you start realizing as you're putting music out, it's deeper than just, let me just release it to say I got it out for real. Like, who listening to it? If you just spent $600 to get this beat cleared, how much money you putting into marketing behind it? Who are you marketing to? What's your target audience? But all that takes having to sit back and actually make a plan so you have a rollout plan. If not, you just putting music up for your favorite 14 people to rock with it.
And can I just because I had this thought when you were speaking, as far as getting all your contracts and stuff together, for the love of all that is holy, don't fucking use ChatGPT. The hot garbage that is coming, I've had people bring it to me, I'm like, you dumbass. Like, this is terrible. Like, it's so, like, I can, like, they'll show me a contract that's like 3 pages long. They pulled off a ChatGPT. I'm like, I could write 30 pages about what's wrong with this and how you're about to get fucked. Like, don't do it.
And you have one right here who you can talk to. I'm going to go to Kai first. All right.
Yo, what's up? My name is Kai Savvy. I'm a multi-talented R&B artist. I was just wondering, like, what kind of things should you put on an EP? I mean, EPK, sorry. Wait, I have another question too. I'll wait for this one.
So your EPK is gonna have kind of your data, your insights for you as an artist. So it's gonna have, it can be your streams, how many people you have listening to your music. If you have an Instagram, you can do like your content, so your engagement on there, your audience, male, female, who enjoys your brand more. Yeah, and if you have a website too, that always helps you. And getting your SEO, that's one thing I feel like a lot of artists, you know, they want to be a household name, but your name is not on Google. I can't find you.
For sure.
So, you know, getting somebody that knows how to market you is going to be your push to getting, you know, more people in front of you. So just making sure that you have, you do that SEO, and just putting any of your insights on the EPK.
Picture and a short bio.
Yeah.
Do not. Since 4 years old, I know I've wanted to make music.
Yeah, no, we don't. They don't care. They don't care.
So just keep it like short and
contact
sweet.
information, all that.
Yes, please don't put the rapper man 25.
And then my next question is like, I know it's kind of general, but as far as marketing, like, what's the best way to go about that, or go about like rolling out a song?
So I would say the best way, you gotta do the work in advance, right? So getting your content calendar correct, knowing what you're gonna drop when is gonna be so crucial. Once you get to a point where, you know, you're your own team, right? So you kind of have to allocate certain hours on your day for certain tasks and being more organized in your time. People who have multiple streams of income, they know what they're doing every day to a T. And if you feel like you're running out of time, that's when you start allocating more tasks to other people. That's when you might want to consider, you know, bringing a lawyer into this. You know, it's going to be too mentally tasking for me to try to figure out this on my own. So, you know, being educated on the right people and having those right people around you could really help you make those decisions. You know, what is my brand? What am I trying to market to the people? You know, once you figure out your why, you can kind of go from there.
I also mean like, as far as like ads and stuff like that, going that route, like is Facebook ads like the best thing to do? Or like, what's your opinion on that?
I would definitely say it depends on your audience.
Can I interrupt for 1 second?
Yeah.
How many Facebook ads have you seen that were for music that actually triggered you to go and check out that artist, listen to their stuff, and buy something?
Quite a few.
Really? A lot?
Yeah, I mean,
You
like,
are.
I mean, if
I click on stuff, you know, like.
You are a different creature. Most people are like, ad, what?
Yeah.
Like
That's
if I'm
not what most
curious,
people
if
your
I
age are
see
doing,
something
going on
that I
Facebook
like,
for
then
something.
I'm gonna click it, you know what
Well,
I mean?
yeah.
I'm just curious, I guess.
I mean, it depends on his data.
Okay, so look, like she said, it definitely depends on your data. But when you think about ads, think about this. Do you want to advertise on a website that's going to have you push you somewhere else to get that result? Or do you want to advertise somewhere where you're already kind of in-house? Think about YouTube. If you advertise on YouTube, they're going to push you to your video. You're going to stay in platform, right? If you advertise on Spotify, they're going to push the song so you're in platform. If you advertise on Pandora, they're going to push the song on Pandora so you're in platform. You are a music artist. Advertise on platforms where they consume music. If you're advertising on Facebook, you're hoping and wishing that they not only click on the ad, number one, but then click on whatever takes them to how to consume the music. I am a one app person. I ain't clicking on shit, right? So think about how many people are like me that's like, I'm not clicking on that. I'm on Facebook right now. I'm trying to figure out the drama that's going on. I don't really care about anybody's song. But if I'm on YouTube, I'm already consuming music or I'm scrolling whatever. So if I see an ad, it's like, all right, it's not going to take me nowhere. I'm just going to stay in the app. And maybe if I like them, I can add them. I can playlist them. I can favorite them. That gives you more conversion for real, for real. So where I know you've seen, you know, progress and things work on Facebook, you got to think about, do those people who are doing that already have an audience that they know is on Facebook? You see what I'm saying? So that's what she means by it all depends on your data. Where are your fans at? What is your target audience? Where do your people and how do they consume content? So that's where you have to do some of the due diligence and figure out your own target audience. Okay, well, the most people who I have watching me on social media is between this age, but how many people are actually listening to the music? What are those demographics? How do they listen to music? Everybody listen to shit differently. The kids gonna listen on this app. The older folks gonna listen on this app. You gotta figure all that out for yourself. And then figure out, okay, where do I put the money so these people are gonna actually consume it? Because if not, you're shooting to the wrong people and you're wasting money. I mean, the data is cool if you own it. Do you own the data from running a Facebook ad? Most of the time you don't. So how do you get that data? And by owning it, I mean, they opted in legally because you can't obtain people's data just like, it don't work like that no more. Like even to send text messages and emails now, they have to be opted in. They're switching all the emails within a month that if you don't switch these little codes and stuff like that, the emails you send out are gonna go to people's spam. So that's what I mean, like when you collect data, it's a legal way to do it. So you gotta figure out what that legal way to get people's address, their phone number, and get them to click that box that say, I give you permission to spam my shit pretty much. But you know what I'm saying, not really spamming it for real, for real. So it's like, when you talk about collecting data, seeing an ad on YouTube and saying, okay, this amount of people, or Facebook and saying this amount of people saw my ad, that's cool. You don't have none of them people actual information to repurpose that. So by being able to see, okay, 600 people seen my ad, where they at? And how I get in contact with these 600 people so I can start nurturing them and keep them coming around. If I can't get that direct information, I don't want it.
I want to chime in really quickly. I'm going to come back on stage. Something that was mentioned was conversion, the conversion rate and engagement rates. And I think that that's something that we should talk about a little bit because a lot of us have like 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 followers and we get 100 likes, you know, and things of that nature. So can we talk about the importance of what a conversion rate is and what is a conversion rate and how can we go about turning it up?
So basically your conversion rate is going to be your rate in which you're turning people who view you for the first time into actual fans, right? So there's a lot of things that can kind of affect that. One of them can be using trending sounds on Instagram, you know, having more people that click on that sound. Now you have that audience. You could have like a captivating or like eye-stopping visual. Like I know a lot of people like when they drop a video or something, they'll have like the most kind of scandalous part of that video as like the cover art. And then, you know, it catches your attention to want to watch that video. It really just boils down to psychology. You know, how can I use colors or certain placements of things to kind of manipulate your thinking and to want you to engage with this post.
All right.
So just real quick, when we talking about conversion rate, I just want to put, because you said likes, and it just made me think like, I don't care about not near like.
Right.
I want artists to get into the habit of not really worrying about like vanity metrics. Likes just mean they looking at you. Followers just mean they watching you. How many people are actually streaming your music or buying your t-shirt or pulling up on you or answering your emails? Or that's what is important to me when it comes to conversion rate, for real, because social media is, once again, data that's not owned by us. Mark wake up and say, you know what, I don't want to do Instagram no more. How you gonna talk to your fans? The conversion rate to me is getting off of social media and figuring out how to control it for yourself, whether it's creating your own, again, text message, email marketing database, website, even if you're going old school and you're getting people to fill out this form and click this box and, you know what I'm saying, Google form, whatever you got to do, you got to remember with these conversion rates and these numbers, like, it's certain numbers that they make important to y'all, and there's certain numbers that are actually important. Likes, follows, views, none of that, all of that stuff can be manipulated. That's not important. What's important to a label is if you come with them and say, here is my sales report of how many t-shirts I've sold this year and I made 50 grand. To me, I'm going to want to work with that artist because at the end of the day, you make money.
Over the person who got 50,000 followers.
You popular
but
and you
can't
cute,
bring
but
5 people out to a show.
You see what I'm saying? So it's certain numbers that you gotta like pay more attention to and realize like these followers, these likes, all of that can be manipulated. Figure out the stuff that like can be proof to give value to yourself. So again, you become an asset and people want to work with you and want to invest time, money, and energy into you because you can clearly make a return on the investment by like in actual dollars, not in look how popular I am, look how many people like my shit. Cool, that's great. I just put $100,000 behind you. I don't care who likes it.
with a paper ad, for real,
Right.
for real.
All right. Are we moving on to the next question? We got any more? All right, T. Let's get into it.
So this is more, I guess, on the topic of like engineering. What can engineers do to, I would say, hopefully not get screwed in terms of like clientele hiring them, you send them the mix, and then they just disappear, don't pay you?
I don't do anything without a deposit.
Great answer.
Wait, okay, time out. You mixed their whole record and you sent it to them and you never got full payment?
One time, like while back. I don't do it anymore.
Yeah, I don't move without a payment.
Are you doing contracts?
No, I have not gotten much into contracting, which is why I'm learning.
There you go.
Okay.
Because your contract can say in it, it says, hey, this is how much the services are going to cost. Yes, there will be a non-refundable deposit. So if you change your mind after I started working, that's my money, right? So that's number one. Number two, I'm a huge fan of late fees, or you can call it an early payment discount if you want. It's the same goddamn thing. This way, if they don't pay you timely, they start owing you more money every day or every week or every month or whatever. And then you also have in it a clause for attorney's fees. Because fun fact, when somebody doesn't pay you and you got a contract, if the contract doesn't expressly state that you can be awarded your attorney's fees, you're not gonna get them because the court cannot give you attorney's fees on a breach of contract case unless the contract says you can. So you put a clause in there that says, if I gotta come after your ass, even if it's small claims, you're gonna have to pay all of my legal fees and my court costs so that I'm not out of pocket trying to collect this money from you, right? So you just have a bunch of ways to try and, and I'm all about like encouraging people to behave. And usually that means you gotta have repercussions for their bad behavior so that they go, oh, I'm not gonna do the dumb shit because that's gonna hurt, right? Like that's what you have to do. So that's how we structure contracts in such a way to make sure that there's gonna be payment made. And certainly, if you're doing a whole album, why are you just taking a deposit? Why aren't you going like, I need this much money up front, I need some when we hit this phase, and then the rest of it, and you know what? If you want them all, like, if you're mixing and mastering, when you're done with the mix, you're going to need your next payment. Don't start with your mastering if you haven't been paid for the mixing yet. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's no reason to keep doing all of that work at that point. So that's what I'd say. Contracts.
Are you an engineer?
I am.
Okay,
I go to
so
school for it.
once you start dealing with more record labels, they're gonna throw at you a net 15 or a net 40, which basically gives them legal right to defer your payment. Yeah. So stuff like this does exist, where you render the service first. They give you a time slot, to pay you. It just really, you got to be educated, and these everyday local artists that are scamming you out your money it's not even worth it.
If it's a
Like,
legitimate company, they've been around for a while, like, all right, net 15, net
I got
30,
you, bro.
whatever.
Next time I see,
Cool,
I got
'cause you know
you.
what? The
Nah.
contract's still going to have late fees in it, and it's still
Yeah.
going to have attorney's fees in it. So if they're going to screw around, they're going to find out.
Mhm.
But if it's just like
Your
some
boy
dude off
or-
the street being
Yeah,
like, nah,
nah,
I can
it's-
pay you like 30 days after, like, nah,
Yeah, nah.
you can get your mix
That-
30 days after you pay me. Like,
Yeah,
That sounds a lot more
exactly.
like what
Yeah,
I've been doing
exactly.
recently.
Exactly.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, before we close this off, do we have any more questions? Okay, Nia, she's saying
All right. So the last question, it's a two-part. What does it mean to be part of the Recording Academy and similar organizations, and how does one become part of them?
every organization's going to have their own process for bringing people on and what hoops you have to jump through, because there's some hoops, let me tell you. So for the Recording Academy, it depends on which wing you're getting into. So if you're an artist or if you're an engineer or if you're a professional like me, so I'm like a lesser member because my experience in the industry is entirely in legal. So the album credits I have are thank yous. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't, which is great. It's great because y'all don't want to hear me sing. So it's for everybody's best interest. I don't have any other credits. But, you know, otherwise, in the position of an artist or an engineer, you have to have a certain number of credits. I don't know off the top of my head what they are, but my husband's always bitching about them. Because, like, certain things qualify and certain things do not as far as what your credits are. So you got to have a certain number of credits. You got to have people vouch for you to get in. So you have letters of recommendation or, you know, from existing Academy members. You fill out the application, you submit it, you cross your fingers, they check your stuff. And they're like, all right, cool, you're in, give us some money.
Give me the money.
Yeah, so give me the money. But that's the Recording Academy. But, I mean, every organization is going to be different. Almost all of them are going to have, you know, the bigger ones are going to have dues of some sort to support what they do. But, yeah, so that's my experience with them.
The Academy also has an affiliate called Grammy U, which is catered more toward, you know, people our age. And
my
also,
Full Sail crowd. I'm sorry to
yes,
interrupt,
exactly.
but my Full
No,
Sail
you're good.
crowd, you have Grammy U membership, so go. I think maybe First might have access to that as well.
They got to open till I think until you're 27 now.
Yeah. Yep.
Thank God.
Yep. You don't have to go to a college. Yeah. Yeah. But the representative is in Miami. Her name is Samantha Kopic for the Florida chapter. But they connect you to industry professionals. They give you a mentor, you know, so you can ask questions. So it's definitely something that's very beneficial for artists.
With
But
Grammy U, can you submit?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
You can sign up for it. You still have to get the recommendation.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like, can you submit songs to be consideration? No, you can't
No, no.
submit
Oh, yeah, no,
songs
no,
for
no,
Grammy
no.
consideration.
No.
Yeah.
What you can do is actually a mentor to do it for you.
Yeah, okay. There you go.
But you do need 2 letters of recommendations from industry professionals to even get in.
You gotta pay your dues, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just to touch on it, there's a viral video going around a couple weeks ago just talking about the fact of having to pay to be in certain rooms. And that is very true. The whole reason why I put this specific event together and why it's such a long event, or why there's so many different things going on, is because my personal favorite experiences in the industry have been when I'm working at conferences. I've been really blessed to be a session lead over with the music biz for the past 2 years, and I have so much fucking fun, and I learn so much stuff, and I'm up for 18 hours a day, like running around. But it's so beneficial to be surrounded by industry and education and really have that time. But all of these different organizations, like they said, they have different processes, and just going back to the importance of research and actually taking the time to, okay, what are the resources that I have around me, whether that's locally, whether that's in my state, whether that's across the country, because there are a lot of really cool people, like Finesse Media is a really good example of an organization who just puts out great content and builds communities, whether that's on Discord or in person. Digilog is another really good example of that, of spaces where it's young people who are in the industry, older people as well, no shade. But people who are in the industry trying to move, hey, let me say this first and foremost. I am 100% like, okay, you take the wisdom from your elders and learn, but the future is the future, yo. Like, there's, you know, us young people who are moving and shaking, like, we are the future of the industry, and how we move and what stipulations we put on these companies that we're working with is what dictates the future. Like, we have to know what we're doing so that to build that leverage when it comes with, okay, I've gathered my data, I have all of my digital assets, I know what I'm doing. And when you're coming to those larger corporations, whether it's a subsidiary of the big three or whatever the situation that have a lot of resources, you know how to act so that in the future we can continue building an industry that's more accessible, that is more equitable for everybody. But you gotta know what the fuck is going on so that you can establish those boundaries, and then you can put yourself out there and say those things. I want this to happen, this needs to happen, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but that's what I had to say. With that being said, I'm gonna take that as the last question. We have about an hour before we move into the jam session where we're gonna be setting up the stage and stuff. So take this time to utilize this event, what it's for, and talk to each other. We're all here because we care about the music industry. Whether we're already in it, we're trying to break into it, we're trying to grow from it. Everyone here is on the same page when it comes to that stuff. So have the conversations. my girl's gonna be here too. So if you want to talk to them, you totally can. But yeah, take this next hour or so to really just connect with each other, grab some drinks. I have my booth over at the front with registration. I'm selling shirts, I'm selling interview packages and all of that good stuff. So come talk to me if you want to learn more about Dare and Defy, see what we have going on, and please enjoy yourself while we're here. Okay? Yeah, we could get a